Sales collateral is the subject for this video. Sales collateral is an important concept in the sales process. It's essentially any material that you give out or use during the sales process. It's referred to as collateral, that's the common term. Anyone selling a product should have some sort of collateral, whether it's online, paper, or otherwise. People are going to want to know or be reminded of things about your product, and that's the purpose that sales collateral serves. It takes different forms: email, online, paper, prototypes, samples. Depends on what kind of business you have, which we'll talk about in a second. Most of your collateral is either going to talk about your features or benefits, or it's going to have a call to action and contact information. So it's something that's going to say, this is such a great product or service, and here's what it does, and then here, call us, or here, send us an order, or log online to the website, or what have you. Call to action is important, and talking about the product or talking more about the service is also important. It should also answer customer questions. Your customers are going to have questions and objections, and these things will evolve over time as you learn more about your customers. Your collateral will it'll be constantly evolving if you're good. And really it's driven by objections, and there's a separate video about objections and what they are. But it's driven by the process of your customers saying, well, what about this, or what about that, or how do you compare to your customers, or what have you. They'll raise an objection to your product, and then you'll go back and bake that into your sales collateral. So you won't have to answer those questions in the future, so that they can find that stuff either on paper or electronically. So remember, our pipeline looks like this: pre-qualified, qualified, defined, developed, selected. That's moving down through the sales process. And what we're going to learn in a second is that there's different kinds of collateral that corresponds with those levels of the sales process. So this is a very simplified version as always, but let's look at different types of businesses. Software, you may be selling software. You may have a website. You may be selling a physical product or a service. And the collateral used for those different types of companies can be very different. And what are you going to have? What type of collateral? You're going to have demo. You're going to give a demonstration or have a demo collateral. You're going to have samples. You might have testimonials. You might have a competitor comparison. You'll have an order sheet or a pricing document. You'll have a white paper. You'll have a data sheet that talks about what's in your product. You'll have an ROI document. Why is it valuable? What value are you getting out of it or giving to the customer? And you might even have things like business cards. These are some examples. Each one of these is going to answer a question. Well, what does your product do? And, well, I'd like to try it. And, well, who else uses it? And do they like it? And, well, how do you compare to such and such a product in the market? How much does it cost? What does it take to order it? How long does it take to deliver? Why? What's the data around why I need this? Give me a big list of everything that it does. And then, will it make me money? Is it valuable? You can see that these things are driven by customer questions. So let's look briefly. If you're a software company, you might be doing your demo online. They're going to be able to download some of the software to sample it. Your testimonials would take the form of quotes and referrals. That could be either paper or online. You may have a chart that's a competitor comparison that says, well, here's what I do, and here's what my competitors do. You're going to have either a paper order, or you're going to have an online file that they can say, yes, I'd like to order your product. And then you might publish white papers on your website or even on paper. And then your ROI document might appear online or on paper. So that's going to be very different than like a physical product. Let's say you're selling a drink or a physical tool of some sort. Your demo might be a sample. Here, try one of my drinks. Samples are what they are. You might carry around samples all the time if you're selling a physical product. Testimonials might take the form of people saying, I love this drink, or of you saying it's drunk by some soccer team somewhere. The competitor comparison, well, here's how I fit in versus Coke or Pepsi or Mountain Dew or other drinks. Order sheet would be, hey, if you want to order this at wholesale, here's the order sheet. And then, you've got data sheets. You might talk about what's in your drink, it's nutritious, what have you. And then sort of, what does it do for me? How does it help me? Do I make money? So you get the idea. You guys can look at this chart and read through it. It's different for every kind of business. But the point is, you figure out what you need, what your customers are asking for. Oh, leave me with a pricing sheet or an order sheet. Or, oh, I'm going to ask questions about how do you compare to your competitors. And remember, objections. All the questions your customer asks are going to drive what you create. And then when you create and have that collateral on hand, you can use it at different points in the sales process. So up here, you're going to have your lead gen collateral. And as you start talking to them, you're going to have demonstration, their introduction materials. After you've talked for a while, the conversation is going to turn to pricing, value proposition, and return on investment. And then at the end, you're going to be dealing with things like contracts and order sheets. So you should have all that collateral built before you start your sales process. You should build it as much as you think you need, and then continue building it as you learn your sales process. You're going to use it all the time, and having effective, simple, straightforward collateral can be a huge help in the sales process.